What's going on, everybody? This is James Harris of Southside Dents and Cosmetics, and we are looking at a few dents on a 2023 Buick. So I'm going to slow this down as the camera pans just so you guys can see. We've got that large dent. It's got some depth to it with a dent above it, and then over to the right, we actually have two other smaller dents. So here, getting into the repair, we've got a tool behind these dents, and my strategy here is we're going to take these two to the right out first because they're pretty small, pretty shallow, and it's just an easy win. We get a feel for how this metal moves. We'll know what tools to be looking to use, what the kick is like on the tools that we need to use, all of that stuff just by taking these two dents out first. So these dents are repaired in real time, no editing in terms of speed. But now as we move over here to our other dents, we are going to speed this video up in just a bit. So my strategy here was I wanted to push that dent at the top out first. And as soon as I felt the resistance of the metal, I knew that I at least needed to maneuver the lower dent a little bit before it released the pressure that the dent above it was under. So as soon as we did that, I started pushing this middle dent again. Now that that top dent is done, I'm just free to work on this deep dent for as long as it takes to get right. So you see me move my line board a lot, and that's because I'm trying to maintain a visual check on the center of this dent, on the depth of it, and see how it's doing. Now this is sped up 3.5 times because this dent did take quite a bit of time to repair, and you'll see me move this board a lot, and every time these lines pinch together, that's a push. And what I'm doing right here is I did slow the camera back down to show you in real time that I'm tapping the edges of this dent. And we're going to speed it back up in just a second. But as you work a deep dent like this up, even if you're using a sharp tool, a lot of times more metal wants to raise than what you're pushing, and the dent gets like a volcanoed sort of effect or shoulders on it. And in order to release the pressure in the center of that dent, you have to tap those shoulders down. So I opted to use a tap down with a rubber tip on it. Just wasn't that bad around the shoulders. Needed to move some pretty broad metal, so I opted to use the rubber. And now we go right back into pushing. And as you can see, I'm still moving my line board. You can still see a little low right here in the middle of this dent, and I'm pushing a lot. It looks like I'm really pushing a ton, but I'm actually pushing pretty gently. That's just an effect of the video. Now right back into another knockdown session. We're going to knock those shoulders down, open this dent back up, and get right back into pushing. We're doing lots of tiny pushes to make sure that we're pushing accurately, close to the center of this dent and right on the center of this dent, and working it out the exact way that we want to. We're moving the line board to check because the shape of the dent moves a lot. So we want to make sure that our light board or our line board, the reflection on it, actually reflects what the dent looks like and is running with the dent instead of against the dent. So I'll just continue this process, and my next knockdown session is likely going to be without the rubber tip on my knockdown because I'll need more precise knocking down. But I'm just going to keep moving my line board, pushing the middle of this up, and at one point I will switch the camera and check it from the other side. But as this repair is taking place, I wanted to tell you guys why I was really excited to film this repair. Is one, because I knew that there was going to be a lot going on with it. I'm even going to wet sand and buff this dent at one point because the metal just gets a little hazy, and I want to make sure that I'm pushing accurately. So I knew we'd have some wet sanding and buffing in this video. I knew that I was going to be moving my line board and pushing and knocking down a lot. And also we had multiple dents on the same panel, and it would give me an opportunity to tell people who might be interested in dent repair services how we price a vehicle like this. So what we do is we take a look at the worst, biggest, deepest, most difficult dent on this panel to fix, and we price that at full retail value. And then we take a look at the other dents, and we usually price them somewhere between $50 and $95, depending on how difficult they were. So in this particular vehicle, those other 3 dents were not very bad. We actually fixed 2 of them for $50, and we included a third at no extra cost because we knew that the deep dent was not going to fix without the dent above it being repaired as well. So we priced the dent with the most depth and the largest dent at full retail, charged an additional $50 for two other dents, $50 each, that is. And then we threw in one for free, again, because we knew that that dent would have to be repaired in order for the main dent to reach completion. And as you can see, this was a fairly in-depth repair. The dent wasn't very big, it wasn't very large, but that depth really added a layer of complication to it that most people wouldn't think about whenever they see a dent on their vehicle. However, as you saw how quickly those other dents were repaired, that wasn't a product of just their size, that was a product of their depth as well. So whenever you're working deeper damage, it definitely takes longer. That same dent with less depth probably take about a third of the time, probably less, maybe a quarter of the time. But yeah, here we go. The dent was looking pretty good from that angle that we were just working it. However, as soon as you switch to the other side and you start looking at this dent from the rear of the vehicle to the front instead of the front to the rear, you can see some of these little micro lows. And these are the micro lows that I really wanted to get out. Now, I did say this dent took some time, and maybe there's guys out there that could have done it faster, but I don't care about being fast. I just want to be thorough, and I try to let the results speak for themselves. So if you are looking for somebody that's not necessarily going to be the fastest person in the market, but is really going to take the time to make sure that they fix every little micro low and get the texture correct and all of that stuff, then Southside Dents is for you. And here are those results that I was talking about. This thing turned out great. I was really happy with it, excited to film it, excited to edit it. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. I'm James with Southside Dents and Cosmetics. We're in the Hampton Roads area. And if you find yourself in need of dent repair, you can find all of our information in the description below. Thanks again, guys. Have a good day.